How do you find your identity as a writer? And what if something that once made you ashamed makes you proud now and you celebrate it in your life as a writer? Welcome to Writer Talks. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I interview the winners of our short story contest here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. I am so proud to introduce you to Casandra Hernandez Rios. She is a Spanish speaking and English speaking writer who teaches at Golden West College and Long Beach City College in Southern California. And she's a native of Mexico. And she is going to share her insights and experiences about how she found pride in being a bilingual author. Welcome, Casandra.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk with you. I think a lot of people can relate to this topic. It can be emotional, it can be complex, but ultimately it's a celebration to embrace and showcase who we are and what we're all about. So, can you talk about your journey on this quest to find this pride in who you are and your identity as a writer?
Oh, yeah, of course. I think it started out when I was really young and I read a lot with my siblings and we grew up just kind of being told to not speak Spanish or be embarrassed if we ever did in public. We also grew up having to translate for our mother. And so I think there was a little bit of shame in that and kind of like you're a kid. And so you just get embarrassed to do things like that.
Was that in the
But
United States or when you still
yes,
lived in Mexico?
no, I was here in California. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like kind of like the 90s, still not. I don't know, yeah. So
Hmm.
that's how I kind of started with just kind of growing up feeling kind of embarrassed and wanting to write or wanting to be something without being thought of like a like Latino or like Mexican or like a woman. So that's kind of how I always wanted to just be. Like I wanted to grow up and be someone who was like just like people would just see her as for her talents or whatever without
Yes.
like giving that person like a label. But now
Mm.
I've kind of like embraced who I am, which I found was sort of like liberating, and it's the source of inspiration for me.
I love that so much. And guess what? Your message can help people no matter what that issue is that's making them or did make them feel ashamed in the past. So, how did you come to this realization and shift into pride instead of shame?
It so Yeah, I think it happened when I was in graduate school. I got my MFA in creative writing. And
Hmm.
so in the workshop, there were like very few people of color. And a lot of the times whenever we'd have readings, I'd read my work and I started experimenting with like integrating Spanish words into the text. So I write in English primarily, but I started including Spanish words and writing about like the setting was always like Mexico or like it had some kind of theme about like some kind of location or some kind of like symbol or like image of Mexico. And so then people would just like give me compliments of like, oh, like I really like that about your story, or
Uh-huh.
like I felt like I learned something, or I
Hmm.
feel like I'm like cultured in some way, which I thought was
Hmm.
kind of funny, but I
Hmm.
feel like then I thought about it and I was just like, well, people kind of really like this, and I guess maybe I'm good at it. And so I just kept doing it and I just started experimenting and I really liked it and started embracing what I could do. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think that's sort of how it evolved. And then now it just takes practice too. So it's
Hmm.
been a lot of growth, like growing as a writer, through like just experimentation.
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
clearly you've aced it because your winning story, El Duende, which is in the first International Anthology of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing Short
Mm-hmm.
Story Contest winners, is amazing. And it does
Thank you.
integrate many Spanish words that are just enough to give it that extra texture, which is amazing, and depth and richness of culture, but not too much that I can't understand it as a non-Spanish speaker, which I wish I did speak Spanish and read Spanish. So you're very fortunate that you're bilingual. So I love, and obviously it was the winning story of that month. So you've absolutely mastered the skill of sprinkling just enough. Oh, it's just a beautiful, rich story. So please go to twosisterswriting.com/winning stories and read El Duende by Casandra Hernandez Rios. You will love it.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So you do have a lot of other writing projects going on. Can you talk about other things that you're writing, please?
Um, oh yeah, of course. I'm working on. So I've throughout the years been just writing stories with the hopes of having like a collection of short stories, and then finally decided that like it was time to see what I had. And so it turns out I have like two different collections of short stories. One is like almost done. So I'm working on that right now, like finishing it and then like revising and spending some time editing
Mhm.
and then finishing the other project. So that's yeah, so that's the next step. Hopefully within like a few months I'll be done and I'll start working on like the revision and
Mhm.
editing and all and then hopefully submitting it and maybe finding a home for it somewhere in the world.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So Cassandra, do you do any of your short story writing in Spanish only?
No, no, I have
Okay.
I don't feel like I am a strong Spanish writer anymore. But there are like words in Spanish that aren't like they don't translate in English, or you there isn't that word in English that means the same. So that's
Mhm.
why like whenever I can, I'll include that word into the story.
Ooh.
You know, like El Duende, for example, like that was a you know it's sort of like there isn't a translation. So whenever I describe people or try to describe it to people, I'd say like a gnome or like a little like kind of like the trickster kind of persona, but it just never translates. And so
Mhm.
I find but yeah, I'm not a good Spanish writer. And I'm sorry to my family if they're watching. I used to be really when I when I went to school it was better, but not so much anymore.
Is it something that you want to cultivate?
What do you mean?
Like, do you want to do more writing in Spanish or are you content to?
Oh,
Mhm.
oh, is it? I don't know. I think I haven't really thought about it
Mm,
actually.
awesome.
Um, yeah, I haven't thought about it.
So when you're a
Maybe.
teacher of of English and grammar for your students at the colleges where you teach, do you help them identify their own identities as writers?
Yeah, definitely. It gets a little harder with like the kind of like the more advanced English writing classes because it's like critical thinking or it's just like composition on like topics. But when like the lower level English classes that I've taught, when you're able to write like personal narratives, I ask them to write about like their experiences. And usually those personal narratives, like you can really tell things like come out like details, things that are specific to their life experience or you know things that they know. And so I always encourage them to just like hone those details or like those experiences. I've actually encouraged people to submit their narratives to like the school journal or like to competitions, things like that, or like
Uh-huh.
revise them and maybe save them for the future if one day they want to publish them. So yeah, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun to write personal narratives. A lot of fun to read them. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's awesome. So I want to hear about your writing process. You said you take
Okay.
retreats where you go off to get your writing done. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I know you know, everybody has like a different schedule for making time to write,
Right.
based off of their like their life or the things that are, you know, demanding of their time and energy. So before COVID, I was making it a regular habit of going, like taking myself away from home, to, you know, different places to write. So I'd go for like a week. I rent like a place through Airbnb, and I, you know, rent it for like 5 days or something like that, or maybe you know a little longer. And I just spend that whole time writing because if I stay home, I'll start like cleaning and like errands and you know all of the other things that are a distraction.
Yeah.
So I yeah I know it's sort of like it's also like a like time and money investment. So I know it's not for everybody, but I use that as also like a life experience of like traveling and meeting all these different people and getting all of these like experiences or things, like details that you absorb as you see the world. So I encourage traveling. Like traveling has helped me a lot with like coming up with details or ideas. And living life, like just experiencing different things, life things, like helps a lot with the writing too. So yeah, so writing retreats were like, my way that I was not making myself write, but like focus, I guess.
Oh my goodness. I love that so much. So, do you go like to the mountains or the ocean, and are you in like this really beautiful landscape that inspires your writing? And take us there. Like, show us. Do you go in a cabin? Do you have special food and coffee or something? What is it like? That sounds
What is
amazing.
it? It is. I love it. It's like me time, and it's also like quality time with my dog.
Uh-huh.
So my dog and I like travel. So what I do is I try to go somewhere sort of nearby that I can get to in one day's driving. I don't mind driving. I love driving. Maybe the last one that I went to was maybe 2 years ago. I went to Lake Arrowhead, which is really close to where I live in California. But I rented a cabin, which is really neat. And there was like all this foliage, and there was the lake, like the lake. So we would just go out and walk and just look at the surroundings and get to know some people at the lake. And then I'd go. So I would just have my computer out the entire time I was there. I'd take breaks. I need food, so I'd always like pick up food on the way, go to the grocery store, and maybe like just get food that's easy to make, so I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. And then I like to drink. So I know I don't know if this is like a good thing to say,
It's
but it's
fine.
quote. There's this quote that I always think about. I think who was it? I think it was Hemingway who says like write drunk, edit sober. So I feel like so I feel like drinking always helps me like kind of just like get out of my head and just like
Uh-huh.
let it flow and write. And
Uh-huh.
then I like edit, and it's a little more structured and more like thoughtful. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But so yeah, so I've gone to like basically it's other people's homes, which is interesting. Like through Airbnb, you get to learn a lot about other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I've yeah, that's been interesting. I went to Utah, to Salt Lake City like a few years ago, and that was
Uh-huh.
also an experience very different from California. And it was also in someone's home. It was like the lower, like sort of basement area. So just watching, like observing their house, talking to the person, like the host, going to the grocery store, things like that were
Mm-hmm.
always like very interesting. So
Oh,
yeah,
I love
so
your sense of
yeah,
adventure and that you actually do it. I'm sure a lot of people dream about having the ability to get away like that.
I
Has
know.
has that changed during COVID?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't. I've only been to. My sister lives in Denver, Colorado, so I drive out to see her. I was going twice a year, but since COVID, I only went in the winter. But yeah, it has changed a lot because I'd also go to like coffee shops or like other places to write, which I can't, like we can't right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
So, Cassandra, when you go on these retreats, do you
yeah.
measure your progress by page count or word count or just how you're feeling about it? How do you know if it was a success?
The goal is to just have one solid first draft of the story.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like the goal. I know it's a very simple goal, and it's just like go home with a solid first draft. And usually, like, so I write it, and then when I finish it and I'm wrapping up to leave, I send it to like one of my friends that I met from grad school who was in my workshop. So I send it to him to workshop it for me. So by the time I get home, he usually like has already given me like really good feedback and really great notes. And so then I like start working on the revision. It takes some time. It's a lot of like work, but it's worth it. But so yeah, very very like very small goal of just like one story. If I can just
Wow.
write one story, usually I go and I already have an idea of what I want to write though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just heard Joyce Carol Oates say she was promoting a master class, and she said she encourages people to write something that you can get finished because it gives you a sense of accomplishment versus a
Yeah.
giant book that can take years and just get really discouraging. So that's awesome that you do that because it must give you this sense of accomplishment, right?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Yeah, usually because I spend a good amount of time like dreaming the story or the plot or like what could happen or what might happen. I
Mm-hmm.
don't always know how the story is gonna end, but if I
Mm-hmm.
if I know like what's gonna happen or how it might start, when I get there, I can start writing and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't have those distractions of like running errands or cleaning or
Right.
usual things.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So,
yeah.
Cassandra, you mentioned workshopping. Can you, for
Yes.
those who don't know what that means, what does it mean to workshop your story?
Um, so what it means is you get like somebody who reads your story and essentially is reading it in a way where everything like they want everything to sort of be believable. So if there is anything in the story that might not seem believable, and obviously like you have to find the right person who kind of gets your work. So my friend Joseph Hernandez, he's the one is the one who was writing in Spanish or like sort of writing stories about like Mexican like people or like those kinds of images. Um, and so he really understands my writing. And so I give him my work and he reads it and he gives me like feedback on like grammar stuff and like just images like, oh, this one's kind of awkward or like I really like this or like maybe expand this or like this didn't really make any sense or things like that. So that's sort of like when you workshop a story, so you're reading it like you're trying to like everything, make sure that everything's sort of believable and it's like
Mm-hmm.
coherent and it makes sense from beginning to end. So it's like someone who's like giving you like really like line by line feedback on your work. Yeah,
Wow.
it's I know it hurts a lot when I was
Oh
in
no.
undergrad. No, when I
Uh-huh.
was in undergrad, it used to be like, oh my god, they didn't like my story or whatever. But once you meet someone that gets you and gives you like really helpful feedback and you trust them, it's actually really encouraging. It's
Mm.
really nice to have someone there.
Mm-hmm.
So I took for like usually we take for granted that we have readers who are willing
Uh-huh.
to like workshop our work or give us feedback, and then once we're solo, like after the MFA, it's sort of like you have to find someone who's willing to read your work and give you like that criticism.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really great to get constructive criticism because it makes you better. It's like having a great coach if you play a sport. You need that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't want someone to just be, "Oh, this is so good," because then you'll never learn, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cassandra, what are your big dreams as a writer?
My big dreams, well, it's to keep writing. I had some existential crisis earlier this year, and I was thinking
Oh.
what am I doing with my life, kind of thing. And I realized that there is like a lot of things that I can live without, but I can't live without writing. So my goal is to just keep writing, have like a book, like just keep writing and publish stories, books, or whatever it is however they come. I don't have like, I'm not pressuring myself that it needs to be this. We all have our different like journeys. My journey is like completely different than other people. But I definitely do want to have like, like a collection of short stories and then whatever comes next and then whatever comes next.
Mm-hmm.
Also the dream is to teach creative writing.
Uh-huh.
I love like reading stories. I think that's another thing that really inspires me is reading stories, hearing stories, like living and breathing that creative writing experience.
Oh, I
So yeah.
love it. I love
So
it.
I don't have a lot of like big ambitions or very concrete ideas, but I do know it's just I want to keep writing and then hopefully one day I can teach creative writing like exclusively and then I think I'll be in heaven. Yeah.
I love that. It's so great when you know what you want and what will make you happy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
And I
awesome.
keep and
Oh,
then yeah, and then like keep traveling with my dog and that's
yes,
you
your
know what I
dog
mean?
is so beautiful. He's this
Thank you.
giant black, like velvety looking dog that's a shepherd collie, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh, he's beautiful. He's if you go to twosisterswriting.com/winning stories, you'll see Cassandra's picture with her dog on by her story. So you can see her beautiful. What's your dog's name?
Sam.
Sam?
The full name is Sam Wise, but we call him Sam for short.
Okay. He's beautiful.
Thank you.
How fun. So Cassandra, do you write with a pen on paper? Do you write on a computer? What is your method?
I write on a computer. Whenever if I'm not on a computer, I'll take out like the notepad. Like if I'm out and like before I forget, I'll write it on the notepad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I used to write a lot by hand, but now I don't know. I feel like the ideas will escape me if I don't
Yes,
type it
I
out
know because
faster.
typing's faster.
Yes.
So people ask me this all the time. I hear it, but where do your ideas come from?
Wow. Well, I was meant like talking to you about this earlier. Is I'm inspired a lot by Mexico. I'm inspired a lot by stories. Like a lot of the stories that I wrote earlier when I started really writing stories, were mostly inspired by like things that I heard like my aunt tell other people or tell me, or stories that I heard when I was younger. Just these like images or these mysterious things that I didn't know about. Also like story ideas come from kind of like every day, like depending on like something inspires like a thought of like a memory or something, a thought of like a word. It's funny because the duende was came out of just like this like little the duende story, like the duende character.
Uh-huh.
And like and like the what is it called, like the canals, like that mysterious, like how the at
Yes.
the end the girl falls in the water, so like like dark water, like canal, like water, like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so just things, nature also inspires me.
Mm.
But yeah, definitely Spanish words also inspire me, so yeah.
They're so
And then
beautiful.
yes, definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I love that
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like another thing is like reading.
Uh-huh.
Um like for example, there was this book I read. It's called Sea Monsters. And something about it, like the way it was like told, or like the narrative voice, like the plot was very simple, but like the how poetic it sounded, it inspired me. And so after reading it, I was like writing a story, sort of channeling this writer. And I feel like sometimes inspiration just comes, like the muse just kind of shows up sometimes, and you don't see her
Oh,
coming,
wow. So at any time, so do you have like paper all over the place where you write ideas down?
Well, I mostly keep them on like the little notepad on the my phone, or
Mm-hmm.
I save everything on my computer.
Oh, that's good.
Um, yeah, yeah, have them all sort of in one place.
That's really smart
Easier.
instead of scattered
Yeah,
all over like on sticky notes in every room.
I do like sticky notes because they remind me of stuff, but usually I have them as reminders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I do have a list of like possible story ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the biggest challenge you see with your students, like with writing? Is it confidence? Is it that they don't know what to write about, or they don't have the skills to execute their ideas? What is it?
I think it's gonna be patience, maybe. I don't,
Oh,
like usually I feel like maybe some of the issues that I see, like if it's grammar or if it's whatever, like this, like lack of description or development or whatever it is, it's usually I feel like patience. Maybe like you said, like maybe like confidence.
mm-hmm.
Because people think that you're born a writer, like you just like were born writing. I liked writing and I liked reading, but I never saw myself as a good writer. Like if anything, I learned to write English when I was already older. Like what was it, like in the fourth grade or something like that, or the third grade. So I had to learn a lot. Like I had to learn how to write in English throughout my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was like a like grammatically, I don't think I was a good writer, like quote unquote
Mm-hmm.
good writer, but it's just more of like having the patience to like try it out and sit, and like do the writing, which is a lot of work. And then maybe the confidence of like, well, who cares? Like the system is fine, like who cares? Just turn it in.
Uh-huh.
But otherwise, like my students are really great. They're like they have a lot going on in their lives and they're juggling, all these other, obligations and pressures. But for the most part, they take the writing class seriously. It's just I feel like they don't give themselves enough time to write or don't have the
Oh,
patience.
wow, that's fascinating. Are
Yeah.
your students all different ages or?
Oh yes, it's yeah, because it's a college freshman class, so
Mm-hmm.
you have returning students, or you have ones that are straight from um, high school, or ones that are going concurrently high school and
Mm-hmm.
college.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different levels, different skill sets, interests, or not really. Most of the time, it's probably like time that they don't have, and I
Right.
understand. I understand that.
Yes, yes. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I used to teach community college English, and I was just so in awe of people's commitment to come to school. They had families, they had multiple jobs, they had to take the bus to get there. I don't know if it's the same demographic that you're teaching, but I know that people who are in school on top of returning students, as you described, are very committed, and I admired
Oh
their
yeah.
tenacity so much. And they
Yeah.
have the best stories to write about.
Yes, definitely. Well, that's it. Like that was the other thing that I was thinking about. When it comes to writing, is I feel like you also need those like years of life experience under your belt to have like an arsenal, like more things to write about.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I think I I always feel like I was sort of a late bloomer when it came to my writing. And I used to sort of like wish like why didn't I write sooner? Like I used to write in my diary and write like poems, like usually they were like love poems and things like that, but it wasn't ever anything like that I thought I'd do like for reals or seriously. But
Mhm.
and so I was maybe like in my late 20s when I started writing creatively, when I started like really trying
Oh,
to write.
okay.
So
Oh,
but so
wow.
I feel like my life experiences though have helped a lot
Mhm.
with that.
Mhm.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Cassandra, what advice would you give to writers out there who want to, maybe they're dreaming about starting a writing path, whether it's a career or not, just to do it? What do you recommend? How do they get started?
Um, well, how do I get started? Uh, I would just, it's really, I mean, I don't really know if this is the right answer, but I feel like you said, like just do it,
Yeah.
start, however small or big, whatever, however it works for you also, because I think like giving yourself like certain goals is a good thing, but you want to make sure that it's something that you can maintain and for like something for the long term, because we can do something for a short while, for like something really intensely for a short while, but something that can last so we don't experience burnout. So I would say just like maybe start with one story, and then just write down one story and don't worry about like the future stories or the whatever next chapter or things like that. Maybe just one chapter at a time.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh,
and
I
and
love
two,
that.
like yeah, and like reading also helps. Like I tell my students, like reading is like you're learning writing through osmosis. Like you have to read. And I would say also like surrounding yourself with people that love writing too. And I don't know, like share your work and be inspired by other people too.
Great
I know
advice.
it's
I love
really
it.
simple. Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, so I
That's
don't know.
really powerful. Just do it. And oh, those are great points. So, is there anything else you'd like to share, Cassandra?
Um, well, I did want to say hi to my family because So I know my family in Mexico, it could be watching now or will be watching later. So I
Yay.
wanted, yeah. So I reminded them about today earlier. And I
Oh,
just,
hello, family. Thank
yeah.
you for watching. She did a great job. Fascinating insights into how to be proud of your identity as a bilingual author, writer, and the richness of the material that you have and the inspiration you have from Mexico and your family is just beautiful. So, what do you want to
Thank
say to your
you.
family, Cassandra?
Um, is it okay if I say in Spanish?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, saludos a todos, a mis tíos y a mis tías, abuelita, papá. Saludos, los extraño y besos. Hopefully they get my message.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Wow.
And my brothers are watching too, or
Oh,
might be watching.
did you address them?
No, but they speak Spanish, English. They understand.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Hola Edgar, hola Octavio.
That is beautiful, Cassandra. I'm so happy that you joined me today on Writer Talks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I wish you the absolute best success in all your writing, however you want to take it, whatever you want to do with it. But most importantly, your writing, because we as writers must write.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And I, I always felt like I'm like, what could I say about writing except maybe my own experience, which is, like we don't have a specific path. Like no one was born writing, right? We just do it because we love it. And, do you, like write about the things that you know, about the things that you love, that you want to share with other people.
Mhm.
And then it'll make the writing so enjoyable and fulfilling.
Yes, 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 that is so true. Thank you so much, Cassandra Hernandez Rios, winner of the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing Short Story Contest and published in our international anthology, our first one. So I'll put the link in the description box if you'd like to
I love.
order, or you, yay! And you can also go to our website and read her winning story at twosisterswriting.com/winning stories. So thank you, Cassandra, and I wish you the absolute best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you, all of you, for joining us, including Cassandra's family in Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us to watch this wonderful show, Writer Talks, where we get to meet writers like Cassandra who share their insights about writing, the writing life, creativity, inspiration, and today, the importance of finding your identity and embracing and celebrating your uniqueness as a writer. So, thank you again. And please do like, share, subscribe, comment. We'd love to hear any comments about the interview. And also check out Cassandra's story on our website. Meanwhile, happy writing, happy reading, and I'll see you next time.